The red warning lights flashed across the bridge of the Galactic Council ship Star Whisper. Captain Jiwan stared at the emergency message on his screen with wide eyes. His blue skin turned a pale shade of purple as he read the words again. Danger, new species discovered, extreme caution required. The message came directly from the High Council on Zentari Prime. Captain Jiwan had been a diplomat for 20 years. He had made first contact with over 50 different species. But he had never seen a warning this serious before. Dr. Minho, the ship's xenobiologist, walked onto the bridge. His 4 arms carried several data tablets. His large black eyes looked worried as he approached the captain. Sir, I have finished reading all the reports about these humans, Dr. Minho said. The situation is worse than we thought. Captain Jiwan turned his chair to face the doctor. Tell me what you found. Dr. Minho activated his main tablet. A holographic image appeared in the air above it. The image showed a massive creature with scales, wings, and fire coming from its mouth. These are the beasts that humans control, Dr. Minho explained. They call them dragons. Each one is over 30 feet long. They can fly at incredible speeds. And look at this. The hologram changed to show a dragon breathing fire. The flames melted solid rock in seconds. The fire reaches temperatures of over 3,000 degrees, Dr. Minho continued. One dragon could destroy an entire city in minutes. And the humans have thousands of them. Communications Officer Yeji joined them on the bridge. Her green tentacles moved nervously as she spoke. Captain, I have been monitoring human communications. She said, they speak about these dragons like they are family pets. They give them names, they feed them. They even sleep near them. Captain Jiwan felt his stomach turn cold. They sleep next to those monsters? Yes, sir, Yeji replied. And that is not the strangest part. The humans seem to love these creatures. They take pictures with them. They celebrate when new dragons are born. They mourn when dragons die. Dr. Minho nodded grimly. This suggests a level of psychological control we have never seen before. The humans have somehow trained these deadly beasts to be completely loyal. It is the perfect weapon system. Captain Jiwan stood up and walked to the main viewing screen. The blue and green planet called Earth hung in space before them. It looked so peaceful and beautiful, but now he knew the truth. This planet was home to the most dangerous species the galaxy had ever encountered. Sir, Yeji said quietly, there is something else. The High Council wants us to make contact with them. What? Captain Yuan spun around. They want us to go down there, with those fire-breathing monsters? The Council believes we must try diplomacy first, Yoji explained. They want to understand how humans control the dragons. Maybe we can learn from them. Or maybe we can convince them to join the Galactic Council peacefully. Dr. Minho made a worried sound with his throat. Captain, if we make them angry, they could unleash their dragons on our ship. We would be burned to nothing in seconds. Captain, Jiwan thought carefully. He had served the Galactic Council his whole life. He had always followed orders, even dangerous ones. But this felt different. This felt like flying straight into a black hole. How many crew members do we have on board? He asked. 47, Yaji answered. And how many dragons are on that planet? Dr. Minho checked his tablet. Our scanners detect at least 12,000 dragons, maybe more. The bridge fell silent. Everyone understood the math. Even if each dragon could only destroy one ship, the humans had enough firepower to wipe out the entire galactic fleet. Captain Jiwan made his decision. We will follow our orders, but we go in with maximum caution, all weapons ready. Shields at full power, and we land far away from any major human settlements. Yes, sir, both officers replied. The Star Whisper began its descent toward Earth's atmosphere. Captain Jiwan watched the planet grow larger on the screen. Soon he could see the continents and oceans. Then he could see mountains and forests. Finally, he could see individual buildings and roads. Captain, Yoji called out, I am detecting a small human settlement below us. It appears to be rural, only a few dozen buildings. Maybe this would be safer than a large city. How many dragons? Captain Jiwan asked. Dr. Minho studied his scanners. I detect one large dragon signature. Just one. This might be our best chance to study them safely. Captain Jiwan nodded. Take us down. But keep the ship cloaked. I want to observe them first, before we make contact. The ship landed silently in a forest near the small village. Through the trees, they could see human buildings. Smoke rose from several chimneys. It looked peaceful and quiet. Activate the external cameras, Captain Jiwan ordered. The main screen changed to show a view of the village. Humans walked along dirt paths between small houses. Some worked in gardens. Others hung clothes to dry in the sunlight. Where's the dragon? Dr. Minho asked. Yaji adjusted the camera controls. The view panned across the village until it stopped at one particular house. Behind the house was a large garden. And in that garden, something incredible was happening. An enormous red dragon lay on its side in the grass. Its scales glittered in the sunlight. Its massive head rested on the ground like a giant pillow. And next to the dragon sat an elderly human woman. The woman was small and gray-haired. She wore simple clothes and an apron. In her hands, she held what appeared to be knitting needles and yarn. She was making something warm and colorful, but the most shocking thing was how peaceful everything looked. The dragon's eyes were half closed, like it was taking a nap. The woman hummed a quiet song as she worked. Neither of them seemed worried or afraid. This makes no sense, Dr. Minho whispered. That dragon could kill her instantly. Why is she sitting so close to it? As they watched, the woman finished her knitting. She held up a long, colorful scarf. Then she stood up and walked over to the dragon's neck. Gently, she wrapped the scarf around the massive creature. The dragon opened its eyes and made a sound that almost seemed like purring. It nuzzled the woman's hand with its giant snout. The woman smiled and patted the dragon's nose. Captain Jiwan felt his world turn upside down. Everything they had been told about humans was wrong. Or maybe everything was exactly right, and that made it even more terrifying. Prepare a landing party, he said quietly. We are going to meet these humans, face to face. 3 hours passed as the alien crew watched the strange scene in the garden. Captain Jiwan could not believe what his eyes were showing him. The elderly human woman continued to treat the massive dragon like it was a harmless pet. Dr. Minho recorded everything on his tablets. His forearms moved quickly as he took notes about the dragon's behavior. The creature had not moved aggressively even once. Instead, it seemed completely relaxed and happy. Captain, look at this, Yaji said, pointing at her screen. The dragon is following the woman around the garden like a loyal dog. On the monitor, they watched as the elderly woman walked to a vegetable patch. The dragon lifted its enormous head and crawled slowly behind her. When she stopped to pull weeds, the dragon lay down beside her. Its massive tail curled around protectively, but gently. This has to be some kind of advanced mind control, Dr. Minho said. No creature that powerful would act so tame naturally. The woman stood up and brushed dirt from her hands. She looked at the dragon and made a clicking sound with her tongue. The dragon immediately moved its head closer to her. She reached up and scratched behind one of its horn-like ears. The dragon's eyes closed in pleasure, and it made that strange purring sound again. Or maybe, Captain Jiwan said slowly, they really have found a way to make friends with these monsters. A younger human appeared from inside the house. He was tall and thin with dark hair. He carried a large metal bowl in both hands. Steam rose from whatever was inside the bowl. That must be the dragon's food, Yeji observed. The young man set the bowl down near the dragon's head. The dragon sniffed the contents and then began to eat carefully. Its massive teeth could have crushed the metal bowl easily, but it ate slowly. And gently, the elderly woman and the young man talked to each other in their human language. Both of them smiled and laughed. They showed no fear of the dragon at all. I think it is time to make contact, Captain Jiwan decided. But we go carefully. Dr. Minho, you stay on the ship and monitor everything. Yeji, you come with me. Keep the translation device ready. Sir, are you sure this is safe? Dr. Minho asked. Captain Jiwan put on his diplomatic uniform. Nothing about this mission is safe, but we have our orders. Captain Jiwan and Yeji left the ship using the transport beam. They appeared at the edge of the forest about 50 meters from the garden. Immediately, the dragon's head snapped up. Its large yellow eyes focused directly on them. The dragon made a low, rumbling sound deep in its throat. The elderly woman and young man both turned to look where the dragon was staring. They have spotted us, Yeji whispered. Stay calm, Captain Jiwan replied. Move slowly and keep your hands visible. They walked carefully toward the garden. The dragon watched their every step. Its body remained relaxed, but Captain Jiwan could see the intelligence in its eyes. This creature was studying them just as carefully as they were studying it. The elderly woman said something to the young man in Korean. He nodded and walked toward the aliens. The woman stayed near the dragon, gently placing her hand on its neck. Hello, the young man said in accented but clear galactic standard. My name is Jinwoo. You are visitors from space, yes? Captain Jiwan was surprised. You speak our language? I study many languages at university, Jinwoo explained. We have been expecting someone like you to come eventually. Our radio telescopes detected your ship 3 days ago. You knew we were coming? Yeji asked. Of course. Grandmother Nari said space people would visit us someday. She has been preparing tea and cookies all morning? Captain Jiwan looked at the elderly woman. She waved at them with a warm smile. The dragon beside her remained perfectly still, but its eyes never left the aliens. I am Captain Jiwan of the Galactic Council, he said formally. This is Communications Officer Yeji. We come in peace to establish diplomatic relations with your species. That is wonderful, Jinwoo said. Grandmother will be very happy. She loves meeting new people. But first you should meet Bulgogi. Bulgogi? Yeji asked. Our dragon, Jinwoo explained proudly. He has lived with our family for 12 years. He is very gentle and friendly. Captain Jiwan felt his stomach drop. You want us to meet the dragon? Oh yes, you must. Grandmother insists. She says it is rude not to introduce guests to all family members. Jinwoo led them closer to the garden. With each step, the dragon grew larger and more terrifying. Captain Jiwan could see every scale on its massive body. He could see the sharp claws on its feet. He could see the steam rising from its nostrils with each breath. Grandmother, Jinwoo called out in Korean. Then he switched to Galactic Standard. These are our space visitors. Captain Jiwan and Officer Yeji? The elderly woman, Grandmother. Nari bowed politely. She spoke rapidly in Korean to Jinwoo. Grandmother says, welcome to Earth, Jinwoo translated. She hopes you will stay for dinner. She is making extra soup for Bulgogi, so there will be plenty of food. Extra soup? Captain Jiwan asked weakly. Dragons need a lot of food, Jinwoo explained. Bulgogi eats about 40 kilograms of soup every day, plus rice and vegetables. Yeji made a choking sound. 40 kilograms. Sometimes more if he has been flying a lot, Jinwoo added casually. Grandmother Nari walked over to them. She was tiny compared to the dragon, barely reaching Captain Jiwan's shoulder, but she moved with confidence and warmth. She spoke again in Korean. Grandmother wants to know if you would like to pet Bulgogi, Jinwoo translated. She says he loves meeting new friends. Captain Jiwan stared at the dragon. Bulgogi stared back. The creature's head was larger than Captain Jiwan's entire body. One bite could end his life instantly. Is it safe? He asked. Very safe, Jinwoo assured him. Bulgogi has never hurt anyone. He is like a big puppy. A big puppy that could melt steel with its breath, Captain Jiwan thought. Grandmother Nari took Captain Jiwan's hand gently. Her skin was soft and warm. She led him toward the dragon's massive head. Bulgogi lowered his snout until it was level with Captain Jiwan's chest. Just touch his nose gently, Jinwoo instructed. He likes that. Captain Jiwan reached out with one trembling hand. His fingers touched the dragon's snout. The scales were warm and smooth like polished stone. Bulgogi's eyes closed peacefully. He likes you, Grandmother Nari said in broken galactic standard. Captain. Jiwan looked into the dragon's calm yellow eyes. For a moment he forgot about the warnings and reports. This creature did not look like a weapon of mass destruction. It looked like a gentle giant who enjoyed being petted, but then he remembered the melted rock in the holographic reports. He remembered the 3,000-degree flames. This peaceful creature was still capable of destroying entire cities. "How do you control him?" Captain Jiwan asked. Jinwoo looked confused. "Control? We do not control Bulgogi. He is family. We love him, and he loves us. That is how it works." Captain Jiwan felt more confused than ever. Everything he thought he knew about humans and dragons was turning out to be wrong. The next morning, Captain Jiwan woke up in the strangest place he had ever slept. Grandmother Nari had insisted that the aliens stay in her house instead of their ship. She had given them soft beds and warm blankets. She had even left small bowls of fruit by their bedside. Captain Jiwan walked to the window and looked out at the garden. Bulgogi was already awake, stretching his massive wings in the morning sunlight. The dragon looked like he was doing exercises, carefully moving each wing up and down. "Good morning, Captain," Yeji said as she entered the room. "Did you sleep well?" "Better than expected," Captain Jiwan admitted. "Though I kept listening for sounds of danger all night." "I did the same thing," Yeji said. "But the only sounds were birds singing and Bulgogi snoring. Dragons snore, very loudly. It sounds like distant thunder." They went downstairs and found Grandmother Nari in the kitchen. She was cooking breakfast on a large stove. The smells were wonderful and strange at the same time. She smiled when she saw them and said something in Korean. Jinwoo appeared from another room. "Grandmother says good morning. She hopes you are hungry. She made extra food because Bulgogi always eats breakfast with us." "The dragon eats inside the house?" Captain Jiwan asked. "No, his head is too big for the door," Jinwoo laughed. "But we open the kitchen window and he puts his head inside. It is like having a very large family member join us for meals." As if he had heard his name, Bulgogi's enormous head appeared at the kitchen window. His yellow eyes looked hopeful as he smelled the cooking food. Grandmother Nari reached up and patted his snout lovingly. "He is asking if breakfast is ready," Jinwoo translated as the dragon made soft rumbling sounds. Grandmother Nari filled a huge metal bowl with rice, vegetables, and some kind of soup. Jinwoo helped her carry it outside. Bulgogi waited patiently until the bowl was set down, then began eating carefully. "He has very good manners for such a large creature," Yeji observed. "Grandmother taught him when he was small," Jinwoo explained. "She says good manners are important for everyone, even dragons." Dr. Minho arrived from the ship carrying his research equipment. He had spent the night taking detailed scans of Bulgogi from a safe distance. His 4 arms were full of tablets and sensors. "Captain, I have some fascinating discoveries," Dr. Minho said excitedly. "This dragon's biology is unlike anything in our databases." "What did you find?" Captain Jiwan asked. "His brain is extremely developed. The intelligence readings are almost as high as sentient species, and look at this." Dr. Minho showed them a scan of Bulgogi's throat and chest. Strange organs glowed in different colors on the display. "These are the fire-producing organs," Dr. Minho explained. "But they have incredible control mechanisms. He can adjust the temperature from barely warm to over 3,000 degrees. And watch this." Dr. Minho walked over to Bulgogi, who had finished eating. The dragon looked at the alien scientist with curious eyes. "Bulgogi," Dr. Minho said slowly, "can you make a small flame?" To everyone's amazement, Bulgogi nodded his huge head. He opened his mouth slightly and breathed out a tiny flame, no bigger than a candle. The flame was perfectly controlled and lasted exactly 3 seconds. "Incredible," Dr. Minho whispered. "He understood my request and responded appropriately." Jinwoo smiled proudly. "Bulgogi is very smart. He understands Korean, English, and now he is learning your language too. Watch this." Jinwoo spoke to the dragon in Korean. Bulgogi listened carefully, then looked directly at Dr. Minho. The dragon made a series of sounds that almost sounded like words. "He is trying to say hello in your language," Jinwoo explained. He heard you speaking yesterday and wants to communicate. With you? Dr. Minho's eyes grew wide. This dragon is attempting to learn galactic standard? Dragons are excellent learners, said a new voice. Everyone turned to see a woman walking toward them from the house. She was younger than grandmother Nari but older than Jinwoo. She carried a basket of fresh vegetables from the garden. This is my mother, Hyarin, Jinwoo said. She takes care of Bogoji when grandmother is busy. Hyarin bowed politely to the aliens. She spoke in careful galactic standard. Welcome to our home. I hope Bogoji is not bothering you with his curiosity. Not at all, Captain Jiwan replied. We are amazed by his intelligence. Dragons choose their families carefully, Hyarin explained. Bogoji chose us when he was very young. We have learned together ever since. Choose their families? Yaji asked. Oh yes, Hyarin said. Dragons are not pets. They are partners. Bogoji could leave any time he wants. He stays because he loves us and we love him. A man emerged from a small building behind the house. His hands were covered in grease and he carried metal tools. This was clearly someone who worked with machines. My husband Dong-Yun, Hyarin introduced him. He fixes things that break? Dong-Yun wiped his hands on a cloth and approached the aliens. I heard your ship makes a strange humming sound, he said in accented galactic standard. Maybe I can help. Fix it? You want to repair our spaceship? Captain Yuan asked in surprise. I like fixing things, Dong-Yun said simply. And Bogoji likes watching me work. He is very good at holding tools with his claws. As if to prove the point, Bogoji carefully picked up a wrench in his mouth and offered it to Dong-Yun. The dragon's massive jaws could have crushed the tool easily, but he held it gently. Thank you, old friend, Dong-Yun said, taking the wrench. And patting Bogoji's snout. Over the next few hours, the aliens found themselves drawn deeper into the family's daily life. Hyarin showed them how she cooked special meals that could feed both humans and dragons. The secret was using very large pots and adding ingredients that dragons could digest safely. Dr. Minho discovered that Bogoji was fascinated by his scientific equipment. The dragon would carefully sniff each device and listen intently when Dr. Minho explained what it did. Sometimes Bogoji would make suggestions by pointing with his claws or making specific sounds. I think he is trying to help with my research, Dr. Minho told Captain Jiwan. He seems to understand what I am studying. Meanwhile, Yeji worked with Jinwoo to improve the translation between Korean and Galactic Standard. Bogoji listened to every conversation and began making sounds that matched the alien words. He is learning faster than most university students, Yeji observed. Grandmother says dragons have perfect memories, Jinwoo replied. Once Bogoji hears something, he never forgets it. In the afternoon, Dong-Yun showed the aliens his workshop. It was filled with tools and machines that he used to repair farm equipment and vehicles. Bogoji's head appeared in the large doorway, watching everything with interest. Bogoji helps me with the heavy lifting, Dong-Yun explained. And his fire is perfect for welding metal. He can control the temperature exactly. You use dragon fire for metalwork? Dr. Minho asked. Very carefully, Dong-Yun said. Bogoji has never made a mistake. He is more precise than any machine I have ever used. As the day continued, Captain Jiwan found his fears slowly disappearing. This dragon was not a weapon of mass destruction. It was a gentle, intelligent creature who had chosen to live peacefully with humans, but then he remembered his duty to the Galactic Council. He was supposed to assess the threat level of human civilization. What would he tell them? That humans had tamed the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy through kindness and love? That evening, as they sat down for dinner, Captain Jiwan realized something important. The humans had not tamed the dragons at all. They had simply made friends with them. And that might be the most amazing thing he had ever witnessed, but it also made humans more mysterious than ever. What kind of species could convince fire-breathing monsters to become family members? And what did that mean for the rest of the galaxy? 3 days had passed since the aliens arrived at Grandmother Nari's house. Captain Jiwan felt more relaxed than he had in years. The peaceful life with the human family was nothing like the dangerous mission he had expected. Every morning he woke up to the sound of Bulgogi's gentle snoring. Every evening he watched the dragon help Dong-Yun in the workshop or listened carefully as Dr. Minho explained alien technology. The dragon had even learned to say hello and thank you in perfect galactic standard. On this particular afternoon, the whole family gathered in the garden for tea time. It had become a daily tradition. Grandmother Nari served tea and homemade cookies while everyone shared stories about their day. Bulgogi lay comfortably in his favorite spot under the large oak tree. His massive body was stretched out in the warm sunlight. His eyes were half closed in contentment as he listened to the conversation around him. "Captain Ji-won," Jinwoo said, "have you decided what you will tell the Galactic Council about us?" "Captain." Ji-won sipped his tea thoughtfully. "That is a difficult question. Everything I have seen here goes against what we were told about humans and dragons." "What were you told?" Hiren asked curiously. "That dragons were weapons of mass destruction," Yeji answered. "That humans controlled them through some kind of advanced mind control technology." Dong-Yun laughed loudly. "Mind control? The only control we have over Bulgogi is when we tell him dinner is ready. Even then, sometimes he pretends not to hear. You ask if he is taking a nap." Grandmother Nari said something in Korean that made everyone smile. "Grandmother says Bulgogi is like all males," Jinwoo translated. "He only listens when he wants to." Bulgogi opened one eye and looked at Grandmother Nari. He made a sound that was almost like laughter. Then he closed his eye again and continued. Resting. Dr. Minho set down his teacup and looked at his research tablets. "I have been studying Bulgogi for 3 days now. His biology is fascinating, but I still do not understand how he controls his fire so precisely." "Perhaps you should ask him directly," Hiren suggested. "Ask the dragon?" Dr. Minho looked confused. "Bulgogi understands much more than people think," Hiren explained. "He might be able to show you better than we can explain." Dr. Minho looked at Bulgogi uncertainly. The dragon had opened both eyes now and was watching the conversation with interest. "Bulgogi," Dr. Minho said slowly, "can you show me how you control your fire?" The dragon lifted his enormous head and nodded. He moved carefully so that his snout was pointing away from all the people. Then he demonstrated different types of flames. First, a tiny flame like a candle, then a medium flame like a campfire. Finally, a large flame that could melt metal. "Amazing," Dr. Minho whispered. "The control is perfect." Bulgogi looked proud of himself. He settled back down under the tree and closed his eyes again, but something was wrong. Captain Yuan noticed that Bulgogi's breathing sounded different. Instead of the usual deep, steady breaths, the dragon was taking shorter, quicker breaths. "Is Bulgogi feeling well?" Captain Yuan asked. Grandmother Nari looked at the dragon with concern. She stood up and walked over to him. She placed her small hand on his massive snout. "His nose feels warm," she said in worried Korean. Jinwoo translated for the aliens. "Grandmother says Bulgogi might be getting sick." "Dragons get sick?" Yassi asked. "Sometimes," Hiren said. "Usually just small things like allergies or colds. It happens every spring when all the flowers bloom." Bulgogi's breathing became more irregular. His snout began to twitch slightly. His eyes watered as if something was irritating them. Grandmother Nari spoke quickly in Korean. She sounded worried. "Grandmother says everyone should move back," Jinwoo translated urgently. "Bulgogi is going to sneeze." "Sneeze?" Captain Juwan asked. "Why do we need to move back for a sneeze?" "Dragon sneezes are very powerful," Dong-Yun explained as he quickly gathered up the teacups. "We need to get to a safe distance." The human family moved quickly and efficiently. They had clearly done this before. Hiren grabbed the aliens and pulled them toward the house. Dong-Yun ran to move his tools away from the workshop. Jinwoo helped Grandmother Nari collect her knitting. "How far back do we need to go?" Dr. Minho asked. "At least 50 meters, Hiren replied. "Maybe more if it is a big sneeze." Bulgogi's entire body was trembling now. His snout twitched more violently. His eyes squeezed shut as he tried to fight the approaching sneeze. Can't he control it? Yuji asked nervously. No one can control a sneeze, Grandmother Nari said in broken galactic standard. Not even dragons. The aliens found themselves being pushed further and further back from the garden. They could see Bogoji struggling with the sneeze from a distance. The dragon's massive body shook with the effort of trying to hold it back. Maybe it will pass, Captain Jiwan said hopefully. No, Dongyun said grimly. Once a dragon starts to sneeze, there is no stopping it. We just have to wait and hope it is not too powerful. Bogoji let out a small whimpering sound. His snout pointed toward the empty sky, away from all buildings and people. Even in his distress, he was being careful not to hurt anyone. He is trying. To aim away from everything important, Hiren observed. Good boy, Bogoji. The dragon's breathing stopped completely for a moment. Everything became perfectly quiet. Even the birds stopped singing. Then Bogoji sneezed. The sound was like thunder and earthquakes happening at the same time. A massive column of fire erupted from the dragon's snout and shot high into the sky. The flame was bright white at the center and burned hotter than anything Captain Jiwan had ever seen. The fire column lasted for nearly 10 seconds. When it finally ended, everyone stared in shock at what had happened. 3 alien shuttles that had been parked in the forest were now puddles of melted metal. A section of the nearby mountain had been carved away, leaving smooth glass where rock used to be. The trees in a straight line for over a kilometer had been turned to ash. High above them, a mushroom-shaped cloud rose into the atmosphere. Captain Jiwan felt his legs become weak. His mouth fell open in horror. This gentle, friendly dragon had just unleashed the power of a nuclear weapon. And it was just a sneeze. Oh dear, Grandmother Nari said calmly. That was a big one. Bogoji looked around at the destruction he had caused. His large eyes filled with tears of shame. He made soft, apologetic sounds as he looked at the melted shuttles. It is okay, Bogoji, Hiren said soothingly. You could not help it. These things happen. Dr. Minho was frantically checking his instruments. Captain, the energy reading from that sneeze was equivalent to a 50 megaton explosion. A sneeze, Captain Duan whispered. That was just a sneeze. Yeji was already running toward their ship, shouting into her communication device. Emergency transmission to Galactic Council. Code red, maximum threat level. Request immediate evacuation. Captain. Diwan stared at Bogoji, who was now being comforted by Grandmother Nari. The dragon looked miserable and embarrassed. He kept making apologetic sounds while the tiny old woman patted his enormous snout. There, Grandmother Nari said gently. Everyone will understand. We will call the insurance company and they will pay for the damage. Insurance company? Captain Jiwan asked weakly. Oh yes, Jinwoo said casually. Old dragon families have special insurance for accidents like this. It happens maybe once or twice a year during allergy season. Captain Jiwan realized that his peaceful diplomatic mission had just become the most dangerous first contact in galactic history. And the worst part was that no one had done anything wrong. It was just a sneeze. Within 1 hour of Bogoji's sneeze, the sky above Earth filled with Galactic Council warships. Captain Jiwan watched through his ship's communications system as the largest military fleet in known history took position around the planet. Admiral Korvac's face appeared on the emergency communication screen. His purple scales were darker than usual, which meant he was extremely angry or frightened. Captain Jiwan, Admiral Korvac's voice boomed through the speakers. Report your status immediately. Are you under attack? No, sir, Captain Jiwan replied. Carefully, we are not under attack. Then explain the nuclear explosion detected from your location. Our sensors registered a 50 megaton energy release. Captain Jiwan looked out the window at Bogoji, who was still lying sadly in the garden. Grandmother Nari was making him special soup to help with his allergies. Sir, it was an accident. One of the dragons sneezed. The communication screen went silent for a long moment. Did you say sneezed? Admiral Korvac asked slowly. Yes, sir, the dragon has seasonal allergies. The sneeze was involuntary. Captain, are you telling me that these humans have weaponized their pets' bodily functions? No, sir, they have no control over when dragons sneeze. It just happens naturally. Admiral Korvac's face turned an even darker shade of purple. Captain, you are saying that these creatures accidentally release nuclear-level explosions? Only when they have allergies, sir. Maybe once or twice per year according to the humans. Through his ship's sensors, Captain Jiwan could see the panic spreading through the galactic fleet. Ships were moving to maximum safe distance from Earth. Some captains were requesting permission to retreat completely. Sir, Captain Jiwan continued, the humans are very sorry about the damage. They want to file an insurance claim to pay for our destroyed shuttles. Insurance claim? Apparently this happens regularly. They have special insurance policies for dragon sneezes. Admiral Korvac rubbed his forehead with all four of his hands. Captain G1, I need you to explain something to me. How do these humans live safely near creatures that can accidentally destroy cities? Captain Jiwan thought about everything he had learned over the past few days. Sir, I believe they have adapted their entire society around the dragons. Let me show you something. Captain. Jiwan activated his ship's external cameras and pointed them at the human village. Even after the massive explosion, life was continuing normally. People were cleaning up the ash that had fallen on their houses. Children played in yards that had been carefully designed with underground shelters. Look at their architecture. Sir, Captain Jiwan explained, all the important buildings are built with reinforced walls. The houses have special ventilation systems to filter out smoke and ash. Even their roads are designed to be quickly repairable. Dr. Minho appeared on the communication link from the surface. Admiral, I have been studying human society. They have lived with dragons for over 300 years. Their entire civilization has evolved to coexist safely with these creatures. How is that possible? Admiral Korvac demanded. They use warning systems, sir, Dr. Minho continued. Dragons usually show signs before they sneeze. The humans have learned to recognize these signs and take cover quickly. And they do this willingly? More than willingly, sir. They love their dragons. The relationship is completely voluntary on both sides. Yaji's voice came through the communication system from the village. Admiral, I am transmitting records of human-dragon interactions. You need to see this. The screen filled with images that Dr. Minho had recorded. Dragons helping humans with farming by providing controlled heat for crops. Dragons working with humans to build houses by precisely melting and shaping metal. Dragons protecting human children by keeping them warm during cold winters. These creatures are integrated into human society at every level, Yeji reported. They are not pets or weapons. They are partners. Admiral Korvac studied the images carefully. But the destruction capability ... is an unfortunate side effect of their biology, Dr. Minho finished. Like how some species shed poisonous skin, or how others emit toxic gases when frightened. Dragons occasionally sneeze with great force. The humans have simply learned to live with this reality. Captain Jiwan watched as Jinwoo approached Bogoji with a large bowl of medicine soup. The dragon looked ashamed and refused to eat at first. But Jinwoo sat down next to the massive creature and spoke gently to him until Bogoji finally began to drink the soup. Sir, Captain Jiwan said, I recommend you speak directly with the humans. They can explain better than we can. Absolutely not, Admiral Korvac replied immediately. It is too dangerous. With respect, sir, I have been living with them for 3 days. They are the most peaceful, kind people I have ever met. Peaceful people who live with nuclear weapons that sneeze. Sir, please let me arrange a video communication. You can speak with them safely from your ship? Admiral Korvac considered this carefully. Very well, but maximum security protocols. Any sign of threat and we retreat immediately. 30 minutes later, Captain Jiwan had set up a communication link between the galactic fleet and Grandmother Nari's kitchen table. The elderly woman sat calmly in her chair, knitting a new scarf while she waited. Jinwoo sat beside her to translate. Hiren and Dongyun were also present. Looking nervous but determined to make a good impression, Admiral Korvac's image appeared on a portable screen that Dr. Minho had brought from the ship. "Greetings," Junwoo said formally. "We are honored to speak with the leader of the space fleet." "I am Admiral Korvac of the Galactic Council," came the translation through the device. "We need to discuss the dangerous incident that occurred today." Grandmother Neri listened to the translation, then spoke softly in Korean. "Grandmother says she is very sorry about the accident," Jinwoo translated. "She wants to know if anyone was hurt." "3 of our shuttles were destroyed," Admiral Korvac replied. Grandmother Neri looked genuinely upset when this was translated. She spoke quickly in Korean, then got up and hurried to a drawer in the kitchen. "Grandmother is getting her insurance papers," Jinwoo explained. "She wants to make sure you are properly compensated for the damage." The elderly woman returned with a thick folder of documents. She showed them to the camera while speaking earnestly. "She says the insurance company covers all dragon-related accidents," Jinwoo translated. "They will replace your shuttles with better ones. She also wants to invite your crew for dinner as an apology." Admiral Korvac stared at the screen in amazement. "She wants to cook dinner for my crew?" "Grandmother believes food solves most problems," Hiren added in careful galactic standard. "She is already planning the menu. But what about the dragon?" Admiral Korvac asked. "What prevents this from happening again?" Dongyun leaned forward. "Bulgogi feels terrible about the accident. Dragons have excellent memories. He will be much more careful during allergy season from now on. And we will make sure our guests park their ships further away," Hiren added practically. Admiral Korvac was quiet for a long moment. Finally he spoke. "Do incidents like this happen often?" "Maybe twice a year," Jinwoo replied honestly. "But usually not so powerful. Bulgogi's sneeze today was unusually strong." "How do you protect yourselves?" "Good planning and quick reflexes," Dongyun said. "And we love our dragons enough to accept the occasional inconvenience." Admiral Korvac looked at these calm, reasonable people who discussed nuclear-level explosions like they were talking about bad weather. "I think," he said slowly, "that humans might be the most remarkable species we have ever encountered." 2 weeks after the Great Sneeze, as the human news reports had started calling it, the largest diplomatic dinner in Earth's history was taking place in Grandmother Nari's garden. The old woman had insisted on cooking for the entire Galactic Fleet Command staff. She had spent days preparing enormous quantities of food with help from neighbors, friends, and 3 other dragon families from nearby villages. Captain Jiwan watched in amazement as Admiral Korvac carefully petted Bulgogi's snout. The dragon wore a new knitted scarf made by the Admiral's own wife, who had sent it as a friendship gift from the home planet. "His scales are surprisingly soft," Admiral Korvac said. "And he really does purr like the reports claimed." "Bulgogi likes you," Grandmother Nari said in improving galactic standard. "He says you have gentle hands. He talks to you?" "Not with words," Jinwoo explained. "Dragons and humans develop a kind of understanding over time. We learn to read their expressions and sounds." Dr. Minho sat nearby with a group of young dragons who had come to visit Bulgogi. The scientist was delighted to discover that dragon curiosity was even stronger in the young ones. They kept trying to help him with his research by bringing him interesting rocks and flowers. "The intelligence level is remarkable," Dr. Minho told the Admiral. "These young dragons are solving puzzles that would challenge most adult sentient species. And they choose to live with humans rather than in the wild?" "Dragons are social creatures," Hiren explained as she served more food. "In the wild, they live in small family groups. But with humans, they can be part of larger communities. They seem to enjoy the complexity of human society." Yeji was deep in conversation with several human teenagers who were teaching her dragon communication techniques. She had become fascinated by the nonverbal language that had developed between the 2 species. "It is not just about understanding dragons," one teenager explained. "We also have to learn to communicate clearly with them. Dragons are very literal thinkers. You have to be precise with your requests. What happens if you are not precise?" Yeji asked. Usually nothing bad, another teenager laughed. But sometimes you get unexpected results. My dragon once helped me clean my room by carefully burning all my clothes. I had asked him to help me get rid of old things, but I forgot to specify which old things. Admiral Korvac listened to these stories with growing wonder. Every tale revealed more about the incredible relationship between humans and dragons. Admiral, Dongyun said, approaching with a tablet, I have been working with your engineering team on improvements to your ship designs. Improvements? Bolgoji noticed that your ship's heat management systems are inefficient. He suggested some modifications based on how dragons regulate their internal temperature. Admiral Korvac looked at the tablet. The suggested improvements were brilliant and would increase ship efficiency by 30%. A dragon designed these modifications? Dragons understand heat and energy better than any other species, Dongyun explained. They have been helping human engineers for generations. As the evening continued, more amazing facts emerged. Dragons helped human doctors by using precise heat to perform surgery. They assisted farmers by providing exactly the right temperature for different crops. They even helped human artists by creating controlled flames for glassblowing and metalwork. But the most important thing, Grandmother Nari said as she served dessert, is that dragons chose us. We did not conquer them or tame them. They decided to be our friends. Why did they choose humans? Admiral Korvac asked. Grandmother Neri thought carefully before answering. Dragons are very old and wise, but they are also lonely. They live for hundreds of years, much longer than most creatures. When they found humans, they discovered beings who could be their companions for entire lifetimes. And humans live longer when they have dragon friends, Jinwu added. Dragons share their life energy with their human families. My great-great-grandfather lived to be 140 years old because he had a dragon partner. So humans benefit from the relationship too? In many ways, Hiron said, dragons keep us warm in winter and help with heavy work. They protect us from dangerous animals and natural disasters. And they teach us patience and wisdom. But they also occasionally sneeze with nuclear force, Admiral Korvac pointed out. True, Dongyun admitted. But consider this. Humans drive vehicles that could crash and kill people. We use electricity that could electrocute us. We eat foods that could poison us if prepared incorrectly. Every aspect of civilization involves accepting some level of risk. Dragons are just one more risk that we have learned to manage, Hiron added. And the benefits far outweigh the dangers. Admiral Korvac looked around the garden at the peaceful scene. Human children played safely near young dragons. Elderly humans shared stories with ancient dragons who had lived for centuries. Scientists from different species worked together on projects that would benefit everyone. I think I understand now, Admiral Korvac said slowly. Humans are not dangerous because you control powerful creatures. You are remarkable because you have learned to live in harmony with forces that could destroy you. That is the human way, Grandmother Nari agreed. We do not fear power. We learn to live with it responsibly. Dr. Minho approached the Admiral with a final report. Sir, I have completed my analysis of human-dragon society. My recommendation is that we immediately establish full diplomatic relations and request cultural exchange programs. Cultural exchange? Dragons could help us improve our technology in ways we never imagined. And humans could teach us their methods for building peaceful relationships with powerful beings. Admiral Korvac nodded slowly. What about the Galactic Council's fears about dragon weapons? Dragons are not weapons, Captain Jiwan said firmly. They are individuals with their own personalities, desires, and friendships. Trying to use them as weapons would be like trying to use our own family members as weapons. And it would not work anyway, Bogoji said suddenly in carefully pronounced galactic standard. Everyone turned to stare at the dragon in surprise. You can speak our language? Admiral Korvac asked. I learn fast, Bogoji replied proudly. I want to say dragons choose peace. We no fight for anyone except to protect family. Grandmother Nari smiled and patted Bulgogi's snout. Good boy, you have been practicing. Dragons help friends, Bulgogi continued. Dragons no hurt friends, you are friends now. Admiral Korvac felt something change in his understanding of the universe. These creatures were not weapons or pets or tamed beasts. They were people? Different from humans and aliens, but undeniably people with their own thoughts and choices. Bulgogi, Admiral Korvac said formally, would you be willing to serve as an ambassador between dragons and the Galactic Council? Bulgogi's eyes widened with excitement. I be ambassador? I wear special scarf? The most special scarf we can? Make, Admiral Korvac promised. Then yes, I be good ambassador. I no sneeze on important meetings. Everyone laughed, including Bulgogi, who had learned that humor was an important part of diplomacy. As the evening ended, Admiral Korvac sent a message to the Galactic Council headquarters. His report was simple but revolutionary. Humans and dragons. Approved for full membership in Galactic Council. Threat level 0, friendship level maximum. Request immediate establishment of cultural exchange programs and joint research projects. Also, he added as a postscript, please send our best knitters. We have some very large scarves to make. 3 months later, Bulgogi wore his official ambassador scarf to the first Interspecies Harmony Conference. The scarf was rainbow-colored and had been knitted jointly by crafters from 17 different worlds, and he never sneezed during a single diplomatic meeting, though he did once accidentally melt the podium when he got excited about a particularly good trade agreement. But by then, everyone had learned to bring backup podiums to dragon events. After all, as Grandmother Nari always said, good planning and understanding could solve any problem, even problems that involved fire-breathing ambassadors with seasonal allergies.